We begin in London on the night of September the 19th at approximately around 6 o'clock in the evening. It has been a fairly warm and pleasant day for the time of year, and you've all been busy about your lives. Would anyone like to go first? What are they doing on a Wednesday afternoon? What are you up to? Where are you?
Well, Maximilian would certainly sit in his comfortable chair in the Pacific Club with like a nice little cup of whiskey and, reminisce about stories of his long lives of adventuring across the African continent. Maybe a couple from the outback as well.
Yeah, the club is starting to fill up. It's usually quieter earlier in the day and fills out a bit more in the evening. But there are a couple of gentlemen listening to you as you talk. In the background, there is a pianist playing away in the other corner. Just gentle, soft background music, nothing too attention drawing. You see the club's owner, Theodore Holcomb, hovering off to the side of the room, surveying the space, watching the patrons as they file in. And move my microphone. And it's all a fairly pleasant, calm evening. Other than the people listening to your story, you can hear a few snatches of other conversations. People talking about recent political events, the weather, how it's been uncommonly nice at the time of year recently. And hey, have you read this new book that's just come out? Really quite an exciting tale. In fact, during one of the lulls of your own story, sort of as one wraps up before you begin another, one of the guests leans towards you and says, "Hey, Johnson, have you read this new book? Secrets of Strangers and Visitors. It's a new Williams book. Quite a departure from some of his previous stuff, I'd say.
I mean,
you might like it. Quite, yeah. I'll bring you a copy next time I'm in. It's
That sounds awesome. I mean, I'm not an author, but I assume that, if you're starting to write one thing, you want to, have a bit of change of pace occasionally, right?
It picks up the pace of the adventure, especially the bit with the volcano.
Oh, volcanoes. Oh, that reminds me of when I'm going to go off on a volcano tangent somewhere in Africa.
As you begin relating your own story of how you sailed past an erupting volcano on your return journey from Africa around Sicily or some other volcanic adventure, we head over to Mr. D'Angelo Williams. What are you up to on a Wednesday afternoon?
D'Angelo, he has finished the notes for his book and all the book touring. He has a parcel kind of bound tightly, and he's making his way down these London streets on his way towards the Esoteric Society. The old friends.
Okay. Speaking of old friends, Mortimer, what are you up to today?
I think at this time of day, his shop's probably closed up for the evening. I think it probably closed about 5, to be fair. His assistant would have left by now. So he's probably just finished off a meal in the kitchen, probably washed up, put stuff away, and just heading upstairs to relax for a nice quiet evening of nothing strange happening at all. Although, having said that, he might look up some of the narcal stuff he had been studying, see if he can make any further sense of it. But that's about it. Just some light reading.
And your rooms are above your shop, correct?
They are, yes.
Okay, so you're heading up, you're doing some light reading. John, what are you up to at the moment?
Well, it's the evening after a long day at my new job at King's College. I've also managed to secure a residence in Covent Garden. It's a small flat above a shop. My proprietress had a vacancy. I'm moving my things in, getting settled. It's a completely normal day with no surprises whatsoever.
No surprises indeed. You can hear outside the rattling sounds of some parts of the market at Covent Garden being taken down at the end of the day. But other than that, a wonderfully peaceful evening. And last but not least, Elsie, what would you be up to?
I returned from my painting lessons, and I am changing for tea, I believe, with Miss Plum and whomever else she has there for the tea.
Yes. Excellent. You hear Miss Plum's voice call from downstairs. Are you almost ready? Mrs. Brownlee says dinner is waiting.
I'll be down shortly. I've just changed out of my paint-stained clothes.
Very good. I don't want to see your dinner in those again.
We'll start heading towards the stairs down.
Yes. As you head towards the stairs down, you hear a knock on the front door.
I'll answer it as I'm passing by it.
And standing there on the front step is a face you've not seen in a while. It's D'Angelo. I've come to call on the society.
Mr. Williams, pleasure to see you.
Well,
Sorry,
good
I think
evening.
I just
hope
muted myself.
No.
Please come in.
Of course. I hope I'm not interrupting anything today.
We're just about to sit for supper or dinner. You are welcome to join us if you'd like.
Well, I would not mind if you have space available. I have brought 2 new books for the library if you all would be interested.
Oh yes, please, come in. And I'll guide him to the dining room. Letting James know that we will have an extra seat for dinner.
I'll get the table set and I'll let Mrs. Brownlee know to have an extra plate. Miss Plum smiles when she sees D'Angelo. Oh, Mr. Williams. Wonderful to see you here again.
It's always a delight to see all of you. All seem to be doing very well this evening.
Am I right in thinking you had a book out? I thought I saw something in the Standard.
You would be correct. I have actually brought a couple of copies for you all as gifts, and perhaps you may like to add them to the library or to do a little bit of evening reading.
Excellent. Is it fact or fiction?
Fiction.
Well, as you...
Are there other members of the society around this evening?
No one's come calling today. But, who knows? They might show up later.
All right.
So as you settle down from your dinner, we're going to go back over to the Pacific Club, where Maximilian is still telling his tales. And I'd like you to make me, if you wouldn't mind, either a spot hidden or a listen roll. As you're telling your stories, the club is starting to fill up now as the evening winds on. People are drinking and walking.
I mean, if you need that 1 point in luck, I'm gonna give it to you.
Let's see what No, that's a success. That is perfectly adequate. You see from the corner of your eye movement near the front door. There seems to be a bit of an argument going on. You see the doorman of the club arguing with a quite smartly dressed gentleman. So, the doorman is a fellow named Michael Robbins. If that is at all interesting. The man he's arguing with is not someone you recognise. You think you might have seen him at the club a couple of times in the past couple of months, but you wouldn't be able to put a name to his face.
I'll keep an eye out. Michael is obviously, at it already. So I'm assuming that he knows what he's doing. But I'll keep an eye out for what's happening over there.
And after a couple of minutes, the gentleman throws up his arms in disgust and marches away. He's gone. Off into the early evening. Hey! Johnson, tell us that one about the leopard again. You've got to hear this one. It is quite the tale.
And I will indulge them. And later, when the whole thing disperses a little, I'm gonna ask Michael about what the situation was earlier.
Oh, nothing to worry about. Fellow tried to join the club, didn't have the dues.
I see. Well,
he's been hovering around. He keeps trying to worm his way in. I think he's trying to find someone to sell stuff to in the club. I have no idea. But I'm not sure he's the sort we want around here. We want good, respectable gentlemen.
Understandable.
But,
I mean, it's not like the dues are that high. So if he can't afford that much, how is he going to drink?
no, he wanted to put it on credit, and Mr. Holcomb had one rule: no dues on credit.
Understandable.
Well, he has a lot more rules than that, but that was one of the many rules.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
I will
Hopefully we won't see
probably
him around here again.
It'll be fine. And even if, you're just gonna put him out of the door again. Unless he's got the money.
Unless he turns up with the money. Then, we might be able to make arrangements. Depends. Not sure he's quite the sort anyway. Some fired librarian. Apparently.
Interesting.
Don't know the full ins and outs. Right, I'd probably better start locking up for the evening. Good night.
Yeah, night.
Yes.
That he's a librarian would have, poked my interest. Namely because they tend to stumble over a lot of weird stuff. And both my boss and my new friends might have an interest in whatever that was. So, I might ask him, which library the guy works at?
Don't know, you'd have to check. He wrote a membership application. It's somewhere in the office at the back. I can go grab it out for you if you like, if it's important.
Yeah, don't bother. I'm gonna go in there quickly.
Right.
Not gonna take long.
Yeah. The office
And I'm
at the
gonna
back.
let you.
Yeah, the office at the back is where Theodore Holcomb, the owner of the club, manages things from.
Well, is Theodore still here?
Yes, he is actually. You see him working. Seems to be going over the accounts book.
Yeah, I'll tell him that there's been a little bit of a scuffle with a librarian that wanted something, but didn't have the money for the membership dues.
Oh, Lighter again. Yes.
Who's that guy?
Don't bother about him. He's not any trouble. Charles Lighter.
Oh, he's also not one of the interesting sort.
Not a very interesting fellow, no. Let's see. He flicks through his book. Yes, was a librarian at King's College. Got fired a few months back.
I
They've got
see.
a very interesting new fellow though now. Came down from Oxford. Mr. Greaves. Apparently he's been doing excellent work.
Seems alright. Alright.
I like to spend a good amount of time in a library. You never know what you might find.
Yeah. I think I'm picking that up.
It's always good to check what there is before someone else accidentally stumbles across it.
Yeah. 100%. Yeah, I think he wanted something. I'm just gonna go try to, find him and just ask him.
Yeah. Well, I've got his home address here somewhere if that's what you're after.
I mean, that'd be useful.
Yeah, he scribbles it down on a piece of paper and passes it across to you.
Alright. Alright, if it's nothing, then it's nothing. If it's something, then I'm gonna tell you tomorrow. And yeah, nice evening, and I'm gonna go and leave.
Okay. Are you heading home or elsewhere?
I'm gonna head to that address.
Okay, so as you head towards that address, we're going to go over to Mortimer. Browsing your books, having a nice quiet evening in. when you
Yep, just
hear
drinking a nice cup of tea.
a knock at the door downstairs.
It's a bit strange. I've closed up the front of the house, I'm guessing. I'll have a quick look through the window from the living room, see what I can see in front of the house. Just a single person at the door?
Yeah, you can see the top of a hat.
Oh, that's good. Gives me a start. I know the
Smartly
way.
dressed gentleman. Looks.
I'll just go downstairs and answer the front door and see. Hello.
Terribly sorry to call upon you at such a late hour.
Oh, it's no trouble. I'm always awake here anyhow. But I don't believe we've met before.
No, Charles Leiter.
A pleasure to meet you. Dr. Mortimer.
Pleasure's all mine. Good, I'm in the right place.
So how can I help?
Yes, sorry, as I said, sorry about the hour. It's been awfully busy all day. Might we be able to step inside for a moment, rather than...
I can't see why not. Keeper, is there anything suspicious about him, like blood on his sleeves or anything like that? I mean, not that I've had someone turn up with blood on their sleeves at my shop before.
Give me a spot hidden, please.
Is there anything I can tell from his appearance, basically? Straightforward success.
Yes, he is very smartly, tidily dressed. You might notice that his clothes are very expensive looking, a little worn in places.
It's probably very similar to his own, to be fair, because good clothes, you may as well wear them. They'll wear out eventually, but they last well.
Yes.
I can't see why not. Please just come in. We can actually have a nice cup of tea.
Oh, that'd be lovely. That'd be lovely. Yes. You are a book dealer, yes, obviously.
Yes, I am.
I
buy and sell books of all sorts. I usually travel around to see what I can buy from different libraries.
Well, I've got an interesting manuscript that's come into my possession recently that I wondered if you might be interested in purchasing.
Depends
I've
on the
been
manuscript.
speaking to various dealers and various collectors. If any, it's a bit of a bidding war going on, seeing who might be interested. And I heard that you were an acquirer of rare and interesting manuscripts.
I do
This
like
one is
rare books.
definitely interesting.
What is the? Do you know what it's called? The manuscript itself, or what language it is in?
Oh, English.
Well, I'd certainly be interested to inspect this.
Handwritten folio. It's the Book of the Horned Man.
Now, Keeper, does the I was going to say, does the Horned Man sound familiar? But
Yes.
I've actually got a spell, Contact the Horned Lord, which is very close.
Yes.
Well, that is a
it
very
does sound
strange
familiar.
name. That is a very strange name for a book.
Oh, it
I'd
purports to
certainly be
be
interested.
writings of the Goatswood cults down over in the Severn Valley.
Oh, I've actually been there.
Yeah, strange part of the country. Yes, I heard you had an interest in perhaps acquiring books of an occultish nature.
What was the book called? Something of the Horned Man again, sorry.
The Book of the Horned Man.
Book of the Horned.
Well,
Now,
it's not so much called that as that it has a very striking illustration of a horned man on the first page and throughout. I think it's a gentleman died not long ago, and the book came into my possession.
Well, actually, I know a group of people who'd be really interested in that. They collect unusual books along those lines. I normally buy and sell books, but I also sell to these people as well, so perhaps they'd be interested in it. Perhaps we should go to speak to them, actually. They're not too far away. It's a short walk away. I could lock up and we could just walk over. They're based in Grosvenor Square, I believe.
You can glance behind him, looking out into it's getting dark outside. Do you have the address? How about I'll swing by my place and
You don't happen to have this book?
I don't have it on me. I'll swing by my place and pick it up, and I will meet you at where did you say? Grosvenor Square.
Grosvenor Square, yes, that's the one.
Perfect.
18 Grosvenor Square.
18 Grosvenor Square.
I think they would be very interested in this book, so either I would be pretty interested in purchasing it, or they would. So you may have two interested buyers.
Well, yeah, very curious. Yes, I will meet you there if it's not too late an hour.
That's a good plan. I'll start looking up here and heading that way, and I'll meet you when you get there.
Excellent. And he heads off. This is probably about the same time that, actually no, this Pacific Club would still be open this time, so this is earlier on in the evening than Maximilian leaving the Pacific Club. So yeah, so Mortimer, you're heading over to the London Esoteric Society, where dinner is still ongoing. Any interesting conversations to have over dinner, or are you just politely updating each other on what's going on? Would either of you been talking about, I suppose Cynthia's at the table, so perhaps discussion of horrible murders might not be in order for this evening?
No murders. Just probably just the goings on of the last month or so. I am going to avoid anything untoward since Miss Plum is sitting at the table with us.
There's nothing but pleasant conversation over the last few months and exciting meetings of booksellers and autographings. Hopefully reasonable conversation.
Okay. And dinner has been finished up and the table has been cleared, and possibly just sharing some drinks as things are being tidied up. But you hear another knock at the door. James goes to answer it, and you hear his voice. Miss Dr. Davenport, come in.
Good to see you again, James. How have things been?
Wonderfully peaceful, sir.
Peaceful, normal, quiet. All good. I was hoping to have a word with Miss Smith and possibly Agnes if she's about. But are there any members of the society in residence at the moment?
Mr. Williams is called this evening. He and Miss Smith are just finishing up dinner in the dining room.
Well, once they've finished, I could
With Miss
meet.
Plum.
Yeah, I could. I'm trying to think now. Would it be possible to speak with Agnes briefly, and then we could meet the other two in, I don't know, whichever room they wish to meet in?
Parlor. We don't meet very often in the library anymore.
No. We don't.
Yes, I will let them. I'll let them know to meet you in the parlor. Agnes. Agnes is just coming.
Oh, James, have you been asked to get an extra tea dress?
Pardon?
No, you haven't. It may be worth. Oh, actually, you were told about the incident with the naked woman in the house, weren't you?
Not that I can recall. Is this a recent occurrence?
A few months back, you saw the damage to the safe. I believe the scratches on the safe.
Yes, I was informed that was a cat.
Oh, that was definitely yes, but there was an incident of a naked woman appearing in the house as well,
Right.
which was somewhat off-putting, I must admit. So it may be worth perhaps buying a tea dress of some fashion. Nothing expensive, but something that could be.
I'm sure we
accessible.
have some old tea dresses around in case of any
Naked women appear. I mean, it was somewhat off-putting to have her appear there before.
any immodest occurrences. Yes, sir.
Yes, it was. And yes, anyway. Perhaps we should just move along onto.
I will make sure that is ready, sir. Yes.
Yes, good. Agnes, how have you been? I was hoping to ask you about something.
All right, sir. Yeah. What was it?
you-
You want? What?
Are you
I
from?
can't remember how Agnes's voice sounds. It's been too long.
That's okay. I believe you were from Goatswood or that area.
Yeah, I'm from Goatswood.
I've had a strange gentleman offer me a book, apparently written to do with Goatswood or from someone in Goatswood. Something about the Horned Man? I'm not sure if you've heard anything of
The
that.
Horned Lord, yeah. I know of him.
It's apparently a book to do with him. This person was interested in selling me.
Book. Well,
What do you know about this Horned Lord?
it's one of the gods of the forest.
I only know a little bit myself, I think. But
There's the Black Goat, Horned Lord, and all other manner of things.
I was just curious because it seemed to tie in with Goatswood, definitely, when he mentioned about the Horned Lord. Or the Horned Man, sorry.
Yeah, we'd make offerings to him 4 times a year.
Equinoxes, I'm guessing, that sort of thing?
Equinoxes and solstices. Yeah, that's the proper word for him.
I believe so, yeah. That's okay, I
That's
just wanted to clarify that this was...
Look. I don't know about any book, though.
I'll soon find out anyway. I've invited him to come...
We weren't very much into books, if I'm being honest.
It's fair enough, it's okay. I'm just curious about this. But I've invited him to come here because obviously this sort of thing would interest the
Who,
society.
the Horned Lord?
No, I've not done
Oh,
that
the man with the
ritual
book. The man with
today.
the book.
Yes, I've not done that ritual today. I've just invited the person with the book. So that's okay. I just wanted to clarify that as person was definitely... The Horned Man or Horned Lord was definitely tied in with Goatswood.
Well, if you do have a plan of inviting him, I'd like some advance warning.
Yeah,
Said that
I've got no plan to summon anything or call any eldritch horrors or powers. I mean,
he can grant great fortune, but always requires great sacrifice.
yeah. There's usually a price to pay. I mean, I've spoken with one such entity in the past, and I wasn't too happy about it at the time. It seems the deal he wanted seemed to be very one-sided. But having said that, he did offer me unlimited power, immortality, and anything I wanted, and the ability to crush my enemies and destroy all foes and that sort of thing. You know how we are. But there is a slight matter of the cost, which may have been my soul.
Well, that's how the stories go, aren't they?
They do. Anyway, thank you for your time. Sorry to keep you for long. I was just curious whether you had heard of this Horned Man or Horned Lord person.
Yeah. I just ask if you need anything else, sir.
Yeah, it's coming up soon, I believe, as well. could be a coincidence, but
Well, I still make the offerings. Just
well,
my own.
part of your traditions, I suppose.
I always think it's good, good to keep them on side.
Yeah, I can't see why not.
And she bobs a curtsy.
I'll just
Disappears to go help with the
nod.
washing up.
And I'll head to likely one of the. Trying to think what they would call which room it'd be.
We've been calling it the parlour because
The
I can
parlour's
never
a good
remember
one.
the correct distribution of morning rooms,
No.
drawing rooms, and all the other rooms.
The parlour is a good generic word for whichever room we decide to meet in. The downstairs parlour.
Yes, and you see, by this point, probably D'Angelo and Elsie have already been moved over to the parlour.
Yes, I think we have.
Okay, so now the three of you are together in the parlour.
Well, good evening. I haven't seen you in some time, Mr. Williams.
Indeed, it has been quite a while. I apologize for being absent for so long. I hadn't expected things to take as long as they did, but I have found my way back. I hope you are doing well.
I am. I've heard your book's doing well, your new book, so this time must have been well spent.
I have heard it has become quite a deal popular here in London. I wasn't completely expecting it, but I'm happy to see it.
Miss Smith, how is your painting going? I remember you were persevering with that.
I've gotten a little bit better with the oil paints. I do sometimes still paint watercolor. But, when you're learning a new medium, it tends to take a bit of time and practice.
That it does. I've decided to do sketching in my free time. It's not far off what I do regards a restoration of books. I'm not any good at it, but it helps me relax a little bit.
It does, yes. If you need any pointers, I can help.
I may come to you, in which case. Well, the reason I was visiting, I've reopened my business as such and buying and selling books, and a gentleman turned up at mine a short time ago. A librarian, a Mr. Charles Leiter. He didn't mention where he's from, but he had a book he was interested in selling me. And it's a book of the Horned Man, is what they called it. I believe it's tied in with Goatswood. I've already spoken to Agnes and she's familiar with it. Not the book, but the name, such, the Horned Man or the Horned Lord. So, is Miss Plum here at the moment, or?
Miss Plum has not joined you in the parlour because she had the suspicion that this was weird society business, and
that's okay.
Has politely agreed to stay out of that.
That's good. I was just checking on. Otherwise, I'd word it a bit more carefully. Basically, in my own studies, I believe there's a way to contact an entity called the Horned Lord, and I believe it's an eldritch creature along the same lines as the Black Pharaoh and that sort of thing. I don't know the scale of the power of these entities. I spoke to Agnes, and she mentioned about the Horned Lord as one of the forest gods the people in Goatswood worshipped. So,
yes.
One
she
of them.
quite a bit, yes.
But it could be this book will be of real interest. It seems he's got a number of interested buyers in it, but and people bidding. But then again, he could have just been saying that to push the price up. But I've invited him to come here regards the book in case you were interested in buying it for the society.
Do we know if it's even a legitimate book?
He said he'll bring the book with him. He didn't have it with him at the time, so it'll give us a chance to inspect it and decide whether it's a real book and worth keeping out of, we'll say, the public domain. It may be worth contacting Mr. Greaves if we have a phone number that we can contact him, being that he probably knows much more about books than I do. He might be able to That's it as such.
If you'd like.
I did actually mention something to James, which he found a bit strange. I asked him to get if he had a spare tea dress available to put somewhere there it's accessible. And do you remember the account of the naked woman who appeared last time in the house? It was somewhat disconcerting and a bit off-putting, so I thought it'd be a good idea to perhaps have an extra piece of clothing to allow her to get covered up.
From what I understand, there were a few of Miss Carter's outfits that were left behind. So I think they pulled those out to have them available as needed.
Something along the lines of a dressing gown, something that can just be thrown on quickly, because I'm under the impression she doesn't often wear clothing.
Well, hopefully she doesn't return.
But yes.
Mr. Williams, and I will recount to him exactly what happened last time. So we had come into possession of a Egyptian trinket in the shape of a cat. And the trinket seemed to have attracted the notice of every feline in the city, leading to a panther of some sort coming into the home, attempted to break it out of the safe. When we confronted the panther, it turned into a woman, completely in the nude, and she wanted to kill us for being in possession of that trinket. But then, was it you, Dr. Davenport, that sent her on the chase of someone else who was in possession of it first?
In brief, I believe she served the goddess Bast and wanted to retrieve these items that are stolen from a temple of Bast. And there's a price to pay. Apparently, besides retrieving the item, there tends to be a death. They tend to kill someone associated with it. And she was determined to kill the thief responsible. So we gave her the item immediately, anyhow, and informed her of the source of said item, the thief, and she left. I have contacted a number of people. I have friends in Cairo to see if they have any information about temple, a recent excavation of Bast, or something along those lines. I've also tried to contact Mr. Howard Phillips, who I believe was the original source of said item, but I've not heard anything back yet. But it is quite a long journey. It seems a number of items were stolen from the temple, and this entity is hunting down everyone who stole them. But after she turned from the panther into the woman and spoke to us, she lacked clothing at that point, and it is somewhat off-putting.
All right.
Yes, not everything makes sense here. It was somewhat confusing at the time.
All right. Do you have any idea what you will do should she return?
She shouldn't. We've got nothing for her. It seems her only interest was these items. I have expressed an interest with my friends in Egypt to trace these items, but I've made it clear that I'm not interested in buying them. But I'm trying to work out how many items were stolen from the temple and where they may end up being, to see if there's a way to contact the people and warn them to return said items.
Oh, all right. I don't believe there's anything I can do to
It's just
help
aware
the
that
situation.
the name she was going by was Neris.
What happened in your absence?
Keeper, do I know of anything about people who change between, say, panthers and like animals and
You saw one in the house.
one? But do I know anything
Other than
regards
that, you've read
or a cult?
stories of werewolves and other sorts of shapeshifters, but so far, this the first time you've encountered a person turning into an animal. The closest you've come across would have been the incidents with
Yes,
Lucinda Vane. And that was more turning into a horrific corpse-eating monstrosity.
that was turning into one of the corpse eaters of the Nile, I believe.
Yes.
But this is completely different. This was an animal rather than like a specific animal. So in this case, a panther.
Yes.
So potentially a were creature of some fashion. Whilst the other thing's something else.
Indeed.
Anyway, it's just wondering. Yeah, it's a bit strange, Mr. Williams, that this person was able to change from a panther to a person and vice versa. I was curious, I wanted to ask them whether they saw themselves as a panther turning into a person or a person turning into a panther. Which way, whether they felt more themselves as one or the other. I was just curious, but I never got around to asking them. I thought it was a good idea to get rid of them as quickly as possible, and then it occurred to me that they were also naked, which was a surprise.
Anyway, while you are over at the society pondering on the nature of panthers, people, and
Nudity?
nudity, and how how distressed Mortimer seems about that particular aspect of this incident. It's not the panther lady, it's the fact that she didn't have clothes. Which is the correct Victorian response. We go over to Maximilian, who was heading to Charles Leiter's address. By now our timelines have more or less synced up, I think. And you were given the address of a small townhouse, well, not a decently sized house, but far smaller than something along the lines of the society. It's got you can see a smartly painted front door. It's got like a couple of rooms upstairs, probably quite a narrow brick house. And you can see there is a light shining in an upstairs window.
Well, I'll move up to the door and probably use the door knocker.
There is no response.
Oh, wait a moment. And do it again.
Still no response.
I'll go a couple of steps backwards and, peer up to the window and try to see anything.
You can see from this angle, from down the street, you can see that the curtains haven't been drawn shut for the evening yet, and that there is what looks to be the sort of flickering light of a gas lamp burning in that room. You can't see any signs of movement, and you can't really get a good look inside the room from where you are here down on the street.
Well, if this was important, I'd probably try to climb the wall and look in, but my rational brain says me that we're not in the wilderness somewhere where that kind of a behavior would, fall under weird person. So I probably shouldn't. Gotta take a quick look around.
There's a few people passing by. It's fairly quiet around here.
Yeah, well,
It's not completely deserted. If you start climbing up the front of the house,
they would notice.
It's definitely going to draw attention. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm gonna be thinking that it's not that important, and I'm just gonna go. I think back to my place. I assume that I probably got like a little flat by now that I'm earning money and that I'm not imposing on Dr. Davenport still. So I'd probably move to my own flat.
Okay, so as you head home for the evening, we're going to catch up with John, who's been having a quiet night in, undisturbed by trouble. You said you were going through some papers, is that correct?
That is correct. I mean, I'm settling into the new job, but I'm trying to clean up a bit of a mess that the last fellow who had the position, just checking up on the irregularities. Some seems like a normal person, Charles Leiter?
Leiter, his name was. You were told when you took the job that he had left for personal reasons.
Okay.
However, from the state that he left his papers in and his work, it seemed that he left very abruptly.
Can I tell what it was he was... Go ahead.
Yes, you go ahead.
Can I tell what it was he was in the midst of working on that he just left and abandoned his work?
He was mostly in charge of, keeping the collections in order, helping out various researchers with their work. It seems that the last thing he was involved in before he left was handling some donations to the King's College Library from the estate of a late Joshua Winters, who had recently passed away, and Charles was handling with just entering those papers into the library collection. And
was Joshua someone of note that we would know about?
He was a wealthy gentleman, had an estate out in the country, bit of a collector / hoarder of books, papers and artifacts, antiquities, items, all sorts of stuff that has been donated to various museums by his daughter on his death. She seems to not want all of his clutter, as it's called in one of the letters in her donation. And the books were sent to King's College because he had a previous association with the university.
Okay.
And it seemed that Charles had got halfway sort of through entering sort of all the books into the ledgers.
I was just going to ask if there was an index of
there is an index of books, yes. There is an index of books that have been added to the collection, and there's probably also paperwork from the estate sale, from the will of things that were indexed on site at the Winters estate. And if you like, you could have taken these home for reading. If you want, this would be, I think, a harder level of language own, or I think the most appropriate role for this is an accountancy role.
Okay.
Try and make sense of all this paperwork.
Oh, there we go.
Oh, hey!
For once.
You have skills in accountancy. Yes, you're going through the ledgers. I mean, this is your job, keeping track of books. And you can see, yes, books that were left in the estate, books that are now in the library that you've seen, you've catalogued, you've sorted. There are, however, a couple of notable exceptions.
Oh, really?
2 books that were catalogued as part of the Winters estate are not present now in the collections of King's College Library.
Okay.
One of them is a very valuable early printing of Shakespeare, and lovely bound collection dating back to a very, very early printing edition, illustrated collection of Shakespeare. And the other is described as the Book of the Horned Man,
Oh, really? Okay.
a folio of not sure folio is the right term, a manuscript of occult practices in the Severn Valley.
Okay.
Noted as being written on parchment in red ink.
Ah, good note. Okay.
And there's a little note that someone has added in what you'd recognise as Charles's writing, that he's kind of made a note next to the red and gone reddish brown.
Okay. Oh, blood reddish brown?
He hasn't specified, but
Eh, all right. So yeah, I'm sure it's fine. So I'll keep reading. Anything else standing out about his departure?
yes. As you read through the sort of papers, it seems you get a slight suspicion that perhaps he didn't so much leave as was perhaps fired.
Okay. So
The abruptness of it all, and this is more sort of thinking back to the conversations you've had with other members of the library about him, that
so although they weren't
he
completely
maybe
open,
was, yeah, he may have been more of a, okay, you're going now, sort of statement.
okay. All right, that'll be a topic of conversation when I go back to work. Those people, just to find out some more info. They're willing to talk off the record.
Yeah, I mean, the Winters Estate books were a small part of what his overall job was, but that was his main
Okay. And does that,
unfinished project.
okay, do I get the feeling that this particular estate donation is part why he was let go, or is just other general suspicion of?
It's just generally the attitude. Whenever you bring him up in conversation, people sort of edge the conversation onto another topic. And he seems to have been quite unpopular with anyone else at the library.
Okay, all right.
But yeah, you'd have to ask around your colleagues a little more, perhaps, to dig out some more details about him.
All right. And nothing else stands out that would warrant, say, an immediate call to someone at the society. Say, hey, you know what? I ran across something.
I mean, you can make me an occult role here if you like. I don't know if you know much about the occult or about the Goatswood and the Seven Valley. Well.
Apparently.
Yes. Reading through this book, the way it's described, that it is a handwritten manuscript that's quite old, by the sounds of it. It's written, the reddish ink and the parchment, rings a few, reddish ink is starting to ring a few alarm bells. And you're sure that you've heard somebody somewhere mentioned a horn man. Possibly with regards to potentially summoning or contacting them. Maybe? Or you've seen it somewhere, or come across mention of it in the society. And you have the sneaking suspicion that this missing book might be one of those sort of books that seem to cause so much trouble.
Well, I'm going to go see my newfangled invention that I've had installed in the flat. And see if I can find the number for the society, main house number.
Yes, they do have a telephone at the society, so you're able to get put through to the society from the telephone exchange. And yeah, everyone else, you're just debating the subject of having to get tea dresses in the house in case more shape-shifting people turn up. When you hear the telephone ring, this bell ringing out through the house, quite unexpectedly, it's sort of a shocking, jarring, jangling noise that you're not used to hearing very often at all, because not many people have telephones to call you yet.
That noise is rather irritating.
It doesn't ring often. I will go see what it is. I'll go and answer the phone. I believe the phone is now placed in the study next to the library.
Excellent.
Hello?
Hello. Miss Smith?
Yes, this is Miss Smith.
I'm very sorry to call so late in the evening. But
Who is this?
Oh, this is John Greaves.
Mr. Greaves, we were just speaking about you.
Oh, were you?
Yes, we think you should come visit us as soon as possible, if possible.
Actually, that fits in with why I called, so I will make my way over right away. I'll see you soon.
Thank you. And I'm going to hang up and go back. That was Mr. Greaves. He'll be joining us as soon as possible.
Oh, did he say what he was looking into or why he rang?
Best not mention on the phone.
No.
No,
I just mentioned that we were just talking of him and requested that he visit as soon as possible.
That's a lucky coincidence. There'll be a good chance to catch up with him.
Sure. Lucky coincidence.
Funny how things happen and bring us all together every time.
Indeed.
Oh, Miss Smith, you may be interested in something you probably didn't know about. In the library, you may have noticed a strange vase, a small vase type thing. I believe, can't remember what language it was written on it. I think it might be Egyptian. Not sure if you've noticed it. It's something Miss Carter had some time ago. I think we recovered it from can't remember if we recovered it from a house in Paris or here. Anyhow, there's
is it in the locked case?
not this. It seemed. I don't think it's in the locked case. I believe this is.
Oh no, the one in the library, the locked case in the library that has the displays.
Not sure if this.
Yeah, there's a glass-fronted case in the library that has like vases and ornaments in.
Basically, it said there's a picture of a creature. I think I was told it was a night gaunt or something on it, but I can't read Egyptian as well as Miss Carter could. And she mentioned it was something. The translation was to see something unseen. It was like a silvery dust in the actual. Not sure. I would say a vase. It's not necessarily a vase, such. And I believe you could effectively throw the dust, the silver-like dust, over something invisible, more or less, and it'll make it visible. It's just something worth knowing about. I'd completely forgotten about it until it would have been useful to me.
Well, that is good to know, but wouldn't flour do the same thing?
I'm not sure of this. You'd think that, but there's something else about this. I think there's a bit more to this than just what it appears to be. But I've not analysed the substance myself, but it's worth knowing about. I believe it was on a shelf in the library. Whether it's been locked up in the case, I don't know.
It might be locked up in the case. I don't think I've noticed it. Didn't even know of it.
No, it's I only noticed it. Well, to be fair, I've only seen it a couple of times. I don't think we ever had need of it, and when we did, we didn't have it with us. As you say, it's very possible flour would serve the same depending on the nature of the invisibility.
You all have truly unique items. Aren't you concerned about keeping them all in the same place?
Yeah, we are concerned about that, but this is actually quite useful. And we did have a number of all the dangerous ones destroyed in Iceland, I believe, in a volcano. This itself, as far as I know, is a mistake.
Do you all intend to continue traveling to volcanoes to deal with the items you collect? Or...
I don't see why not.
Well,
If we collect enough to warrant that sort of trip, again, we should destroy them as we get them.
if the items are dangerous enough to warrant it, yes. I mean, there's some items which may be useful or may not, I'm not sure, but anything like the items we destroyed, I don't think any of them served a good purpose. They were all dangerous items, and I believe until we find a better way to destroy them, that may be the only way. There are only two ways I was told that these items could be destroyed. One was throw them in a volcano, and the other was to effectively feed them to one of these summoned creatures. The problem with that is you'd have to summon it, which is never a good idea. And there's no guarantee the creature summoned will have a mouth.
I recall correctly, the last trip cost quite a bit. Cost quite a bit. I'm afraid there may be a lack of ability or willingness to pay such a price again.
Well, if we're lucky, we'll never have to do a trip like that again. I mean, there has to be a limit on how many dangerous items like these there are out in circulation.
Yes. Or we could just, I don't know, give them to the Panther Woman.
Hopefully we don't meet her again. But that is an option. Would she eat them? Would it work if she ate the items?
Would she eat the items?
I don't know. We'll have to ask her next time we see her, if we see her again. If with these ancient artifacts, highly dangerous things, whether...
We'll have to go to Cairo to find her, I think.
That's a very good point. I could ask my friend. Well, I'll wait till I hear of my friend in Cairo to see. But there's also a very dangerous person in Cairo we should really avoid. I believe his name is called Omar al-Shakti. I believe he's tied in with the Black Pharaoh in some fashion, but I don't know the scale of it. But everyone, well, I say everyone, the one person I know from Cairo who knows of him says he's known in Cairo as being a businessman, I believe, but one of a bit of a reputation. But I believe he's tied in with the Black Pharaoh, so it's something to be aware of if we make a trip to Cairo.
I've noticed that you all are consistently finding ways to involve yourself deeper into such things. It seems to me that you might relish it a bit.
No, I'm just interested in books. I just buy and sell books. There's nothing else in this for me. But, I mean, I've had a quiet couple of months, just relaxed, started my business up again, and it's actually what brought me here was this gentleman having a book to sell.
I've always been told... Sorry.
No, you go ahead.
Well,
I stand ready to interrupt this scene at any moment.
I've always been told that the society was built so that we can remove these influences from the populace to protect humanity.
Yes.
Is it not imperative that this be done?
I believe that was the case, why it was created in the first place.
Well, then all the more reason for us to find ways to destroy or collect to destroy items and knowledge that shouldn't be used by the majority of the populace. Unfortunately, we do have to learn some things that are of a detriment.
Oh, definitely.
I'm gloomy.
But it's one item I know of that may exist, which I believe Ignatius may have encountered, but I don't believe I know what happened to it. It seemed to have vanished. As you're both probably familiar with his situation.
So this is at the point when your conversation is interrupted by a knock on the front door.
Ah.
You remember you were awaiting 2 arrivals this evening?
It's very true, we are.
But you hear James going, Mr. Greaves! And you realise that, no, Charles Leiter still hasn't turned up.
That's true.
Mr. Greaves, come in, they're all in the parlour.
Oh, thank you, James. I'll come right in. I'll go up and hello, everyone.
Just the person we were waiting for. How have you been?
I've been doing well, although in reviewing some of the things going on with my new position, I came across a a book that's part of a collection being donated to the library that I thought might be of interest to the society. It's a book, from what I can tell from the notes, what's missing at the moment, but it's a book of the Horned Man, an interesting manuscript, written entirely in, well, reddish brown ink. Let's be generous and just say it's ink at the moment.
Does the name Charles Leiter mean anything to you as well?
It means a great deal to me. He's the fellow who I took over from at the library, who seems to have left somewhat precipitously.
He was been trying to sell me the same book, and I suggested he come here with the book. I haven't seen the book myself. He had it at his residence, I'm guessing his accommodation. But,
So he was fired for stealing the book.
He's generally not liked well, but that probably has a lot to do with it.
You mentioned it came from a donation of sorts. Do you know? Did it?
Go ahead. It was from a Joshua. I forgot the name. Keeper.
Winters.
Joshua Winters. There were some items that they no longer wanted to keep within the family, so they were given to the college.
Keeper, is this the same academic whose house the society visited?
No, it is not.
No, that's okay. I was just checking.
Different fellow.
Different insane old guy. It's okay.
Joshua Winters was perfectly sane. He was a collector. Wealth means it's eccentricity, not insanity.
I just need more money, and I'll be eccentric. Yeah, the name I'm not familiar with. I thought it may have been a gentleman I encountered some time ago in Goatswood. He was a collector of books. But it's not the same gentleman in question.
Now that I think of it, the whole name of the book, it was a manuscript of the occult practices in the Severn Valley.
Yeah, there's at least the Severn Valley, Goatswood. It's a number of people there worship occult, some sort of nature god type thing. I don't think it's a good idea for me to return to Goatswood. I don't think I'm particularly popular there. I think the society members were more or less told if we returned, we probably wouldn't be leaving. We had a bit of a run-in with some members of this cult, and
Oh, Agnes told me about that. That's when she ran away.
we sheltered her, and they're not happy that we took her in, basically. Because as far as they're concerned, it's the cult is very, we'll say, family-orientated. It seems to keep people in the local area and families involved, and they weren't happy when we sort of, I'll say, saved her, recovered her, helped her escape to the city. And yeah, they weren't happy about that. But it seems there is a strange cult in that area, possibly tied in with this. I spoke to Agnes briefly about this Horned Man. She mentioned that the Horned Lord is one of the nature gods or entities they have worshipped in that area.
Keeper, with my immense knowledge of the occult, have I heard of this? Of any of this?
Oh, you've definitely heard something about the Goatswood. Give me an occult roll to see how much. Yes. It's an area of the Severn Valley. So just across from Wales. So on the England side of the Severn. And it's known for lots of strange occurrences and strange monuments. It's very rural, very out the way. And there's lots of stories of strange sightings in the area of odd local practices. Especially centered around the town, or more village almost, of Goatswood. Where in the centre there is this strange device they call the moon lens, which is this large structure said to focus the powers of the moon somehow. And visitors have noted strange features amongst some of the locals. One particular visitor in his writings did claim that he noticed locals with cloven hooves instead of feet. However, nobody seems to have verified that account. And some suggest he may simply have gone insane after eating too much of the local food or drinking the local beer, which some say is laced with mushrooms.
Right. And if we were to obtain this book, what would our goals be with it?
I suspect keeping it out of public circulation is the best option. If it is,
But if it is,
a genuine, it seems and sounds as if it's a genuine book that may be dangerous if the knowledge was public. So perhaps it would give us an insight. Should we have to deal with that cult again? But then again, let's see. If it is something that's too dangerous, then we'll best keep it out of public possession anyhow. He was looking to sell it, and he said he had a number of buyers interested in it, but he's still not turned up, which is a bit unusual because he had left my shop to collect it and then meet at the society.
It was meant to be a donation to the library. Who does that? Who sells items like that? No librarian that I know.
No, I mean, nobody should do that sort of thing. Stealing books is just wrong. I would never do anything like that. I mean, it just seems to go against the very nature of what a book is.
Indeed.
But speaking of books, Mr. Greaves, you had mentioned some time ago you were interested in learning more about these, let's say, unusual matters.
Very much so. Having been exposed to them.
If I were to make a suggestion of where for you to start, suggest potentially a book called Monsters and Their Kind, simply because, one, it is in English, so you do not have to worry too much about language, and you've already encountered the Starwalker entity, which I believe the book covers.
Okay.
So it may be lighter reading than some books.
Okay.
I would suggest against any of the books I've read, The Worm's Mysteries and Cults de Ghouls. I've finished studying them and they are rather unpleasant reading. But if you were interested in making a start, I would suggest that book.
I will. Who is the author?
Keep it
Just
in my notes as well.
not going to throw questions like that out there.
Believe the book is 16th century and the author is, I'll say
The
the
author
name.
is unknown as far as we know.
Okay.
It's more a portfolio of, I won't say spells, but information about unusual creatures. So,
It's a bestiary.
yes,
Okay. So drawings and such, as long as descriptions and.
probably lighter reading than some, and I do not believe any member of the society has studied that book.
All right.
Probably a very bad idea for someone to study all these books, but it'll be probably a good idea to share the information amongst its members so different people know bits and pieces of it.
As we're having this discussion about the books, we are going to hop over momentarily just to Maximilian just before break, because he's been in limbo for a while, as he turns to leave and head home from Charles Leiter's house. We're probably a little earlier than John's arrival at Grosvenor Square, here in our shaky parallel timeline. Max, as you've reached the end of the road heading away from Leiter's house, when you hear a sound behind you.
Well, I'll turn around.
You hear the sound of someone hammering heavily on a door and shouting, "Leiter, open up! I know you're in there!" And you see a fairly heavy-set, really exceptionally tall man hammering on Charles Leiter's door.
I'll turn around.
Open up before I have to kick this door down!
All
Oh, you're
right.
in there! This is your last warning! 3, 2, I mean it!
I'm basically just looking very interested on what's gonna happen now.
1. And the man just flings his weight against the door. Oh! You see him rubbing at his shoulder, and he kind of bounces off this fairly solid wooden front door. And he lets out a string of swear words that are not appropriate for Twitch.
I'll move up to him, and I'll ask him, hey, you're right.
Lock myself out. Sorry, trying to get back in.
You were a bit loud to, yelling at Lighter. I was trying to get to the guy too, and he didn't open.
How much does he owe you?
Huh?
How much does he owe you?
Oh, he owes you money.
Yes.
I see. Nah, he was just causing a little trouble at the club earlier, and I was trying to ask him what that was about.
Keeps promising he'll pay. Apparently he's got some big deal he's about to make.
I see. You know anything about that deal?
I don't know, books. I don't get involved in books. Books are dangerous.
Books are dangerous.
Yeah, you start reading, next thing you know, you disappear into the night. I've been told many times.
Who disappeared into the night?
Long story. Story for another day.
That's a really interesting story, though.
As my good friend always used to say, books are for nerds and everyone else should leave them well alone.
I see. Wait, now I need to remember whether my character met that friend already, or no, he didn't. So he's not gonna know.
Yeah.
Which is inconvenient.
He doesn't owe you money? Look.
Huh?
He looks you up and down. Give me a hand with this door.
I'm gonna take a look around. Seems like it's empty. I'm just gonna give the door.
Alright, 3. I was gonna say we do it on the count of 3, but if you want to give me a strength roll on your own to try and get the door, you can.
Sure. That's an extreme success on my end.
With a crack, the door gives way. You know, for a man your age, that's impressive. Come on, let's get in before
Yeah, I'll enter the door.
Copper seers and at it. Thanks, sir. Lighter?
Might have just left the light on. I'm gonna go upstairs and try to get to where the gas light is.
Okay, so you head upstairs with your lanky acquaintance following behind you. You can see the light shining out from under a door at the top of the stairs.
Yeah, I'll open the door.
As you open the door, you can see an office room lit by the flicker of gaslight. You can see books on the walls. You can see a nice mahogany desk, a cracked mirror hanging on the wall, and a body sprawled across the floor. Please give me a sanity roll, as you can see the body
I've seen
of
things.
Charles Leiter that you had briefly seen earlier this evening, sprawled out against the floor. His face frozen in this rictus of absolute horror and anguish. And that is going to be where we go to break. We'll see you back here in 10 minutes' time. And we are back. We're going to pick up back with Maximilian again. as you're standing in the doorway to Charles Leiter's office, looking across the room at his corpse lying on the floor, face frozen in an expression of horror. Your acquaintance, the man who broke into the house with you, half runs into the back of you as you've stopped in the doorway. Oh! And he looks past you into the room.
Don't think you're gonna get your money.
You see him shrink back a little, frozen in fear for a moment. Just shudders a little. Oh, fuck. What happened to him?
I don't know. I'm gonna take a look at the body.
No.
Does it look like a normal death? Or does it look like...
Make me a medicine roll, please. Or if you have any other skills related to determining the cause of death of a corpse.
I can give you first aid.
I'd say this would be medicine.
Alright. I mean, there is technically a chance that... You know what? I'm giving you the 8 points to make that a success. There you go.
Okay, you look over the body, studying it. And there's no blood. There's no wounds. There's no obvious sign of injury. Just looks dead. Perhaps a failure of the heart or other complications where people just die. It's not any cause of death that you've encountered during your adventures. He has not been mauled by an animal, not fallen in a ravine, or drowned, or been
It also does not look
trampled by
like
a
this.
runaway horse.
No spider bites or any
No sign of spider bites or snake bites.
vampire bites or what have
Or
you.
any
Right.
form of bites, no.
Alright, this...
Apart from the expression on his face, it looks like a natural death, maybe?
Something scared him to death.
Perhaps. Death of fright is, I think, still an acceptable medical diagnosis, maybe? Touch and go, maybe in 1890.
Should probably have Davenport look at that. The guy knows more than I do.
Oh, we need to get out of here before the police turn up. Well, before anyone notices this guy's missing. I guess the police aren't going to turn up because no one knows he's dead.
I'm gonna go look through the room.
You see, the other fellow has already started, like, peering into, like, drawers, opening things up. I wasn't lying when he said he was skinned. See if there's anything valuable here. Look, so far, no one knows we're here. Perfect opportunity. But yeah, if you want to search the room, give me a spot hidden.
I don't see anything important.
There are a lot of books. None that particularly catch your eye as that interesting. There's a number of documents scattered across the desk. And lying on the desk, what you do see, though, is a book. A large leather-bound book.
Alright, I'm gonna take a look at that.
You open it up, it appears to be... Once you open it up, it's a large leather-bound book, but the pages inside are blank. There is no writing on them.
The first, not even the first pages? He's not...
Not even the first pages. It's not designed like a diary. It looks... The pages themselves aren't made of paper. They're made of what looks to be like parchment.
Who finds an empty book of parchment?
Oh, weirdos. There's nothing in here. The guy's got nothing. Just papers and... I'm gonna go check the bedroom.
Yeah, I'll I'm gonna leave. Somebody might have seen us open the door.
Right, well, at this point. Alright, if anyone asks, we were never here. You don't know me? Wait, you don't know me? Excellent.
Who are you?
Oh, come on. As if I'm gonna tell you at this point. I don't know, call me, Bob.
Alright, Bob. Just in case, you said something about, dangerous books. Is that the sort of dangerous you mean?
Probably. Like, it's old and it's a book and...
I mean, I'm
You're asking
pointing
the
at
wrong person.
the dead body.
Yeah, there's a book and there's a dead body next to it. To me, that looks like a dangerous book.
Yeah, I'm gonna take that with me. I don't think the cops are gonna do something useful with it anyway.
We'll never learn. Don't touch the books.
He knows about books being problematic. And so I'm like, he had contact with that sort of a circle, but I don't know myself a lot about it anyway. So I'm just gonna let it be. I'm just looking at my psychology roll and I'd be like, nah, it's just not worth trying.
Let's get gone.
Yeah, I'm gonna go. I'm gonna take the book that I
Ink pot might be worth a bob or two.
What did you take?
An ink pot off the table.
Sure. I'm gonna take the book with blank paper, and I'm gonna leave to Davenport's home.
Okay, so you're heading back to Davenport's bookshop.
Yep.
Okay.
I'm gonna close the door behind me so it at least looks like it's in one piece. So
It
just
looks
in
mostly
case.
in one piece.
I'm also gonna extinguish the light.
Okay, turn out the gas lamp.
Yeah, just in case. Wouldn't want it to accidentally burn down London.
Yeah, safety first. Yeah, so you head back to Bloomsbury, over to Davenport's house and shop. The lights are off, and there's no answer from the door. It seems he's gone out at this late hour.
Alright, if he's gone at that late hour, I'm gonna try Grosvenor Square.
Okay. So you're going on foot, or is this urgent enough to call a cab? Well, hail a cab.
Hailing a cab from Davenport's, probably yes.
Yes.
I'm definitely not gonna hail a cab from where we just found the dead body.
Yes. Yeah, so you hail a cab and arrive over at Grosvenor Square, where there's a discussion of books and their dangers and what is an acceptable, suitable reading list when you're just getting into, like, eldritch tomes is still ongoing. And once again, in the parlour, you hear a knock at the door. Surely this time it has to be lighter.
Exactly. You should be here by now.
Ah, Mr. Johnson.
Oh,
Wasn't expecting
evening.
you this evening. Come in.
Yeah, I wasn't expecting this evening as well. Is Dr. Davenport here?
Yes, he's in the parlour with the others.
Oh, perfect. And I'll walk past with that weird book in my hand.
Yeah, please come in. And
Oh.
for the
Yeah,
sake,
good.
as you're shown into the parlour, for the sake of D'Angelo, who I don't think has met Maximilian before,
Oh,
who would he
Right.
see coming into the parlour?
an older gentleman around 50, 60 years of age. Still fairly muscular and fairly well built. With like a walking cane and decent-ish clothing by now. Like a full white beard and like weathered face from like a lot of high intensity sunshine for a long, long time.
Is this the gentleman you were telling us about?
No, this is an old friend of mine, Mr. Maximilian Johnson. Nice to see you again. How's the job going?
Oh, the job's perfect. As like handcrafted for myself, if I can say so. The reason I am here is this empty book, and I'm gonna hold it over to Davenport. And I had the weirdest evening. I'm just normal, like, you know, telling my stories from my adventures and all the things. In the club as usual, and there's a little bit of scuffle. So I'm, trying to find the guy, some kind of former librarian, to just ask him what that was about. Something about selling something. And I'm, he's not at home, so I turn around, and then some guy shows up that he owes money to, and breaks open the door, and I'm following him in. And there's this guy like dead, like scared dead on the floor. There's no wounds, no nothing. And I found this weird book where somebody has like bound empty parchment together, and so that definitely sounded like more your alley. So I went and find you.
Yeah, that does seem a bit strange. Would the name Charles Leiter mean anything to you?
Yeah, that's the guy.
Yeah, he approached me about selling me a book, and I suggested the book would be interest of the London Esoteric Society. It was a strange book he was trying to sell. So I suggested he meet us here. He didn't have the book with him. He was going to go home, retrieve the book, and bring it in. So, Keeper, what can I tell about this book that Mr. Johnson's brought, just looking at it?
Just looking at it, you can see it is a leather book with parchment pages on which nothing is written. If you do have any good skills relating to books and their manufacture, you must surely.
What would you like me to roll? Library, forgery? I don't know.
Library use is more about the use of a library. I guess forgery is the best one for construction of books and their materials. As what you do forge is books.
I do have 1 or 2 points in that, so I'll roll that to see if I pick up anything. Oh, that's a fail. But I shall spend some luck, just for the sake of it, really. So I'll spend 8 points of luck to turn that into a success.
Okay, looking over this book, you can see it's been constructed to replicate the binding styles of probably 17th century book. But it's not, it's new.
So, yes.
You can see this deliberate weathering on the cover and on the edges, and the parchment again has been deliberately aged. It's not as old as it is pretending to be. In fact, if you examine in the glue down the spine, this book's less than a week old. It's new. It's a professional job, not quite as good as yours if you say so yourself, but this is definitely a book that's been made to look a lot older than it is.
I think I have an idea now what Charles Leiter was up to. You see this book here? It's a recent reproduction, we'll say, of another book, and they hadn't put any information in it, so I'll just explain it. Well, it's a fake, it's a copy of an original. It's been made to look like the style it's been manufactured is in imitation of, I think, 17th century or thereabouts, but the glue and the other things on it are much more recent, so it looks like a copy of it. So I suspect Charles Leiter was planning to sell a fake book. He may have had the original book, which he may have planned to make copies of, but I suspect he was trying to sell fake books to a large number of people.
I mean, that makes sense if he's got, money problems.
He was inquiring about. He told me at the time he had a couple of interested buyers who were interested in purchasing this book. I thought at first he was maybe just trying to push the price up by the look of it. He was very likely going to sell as many fake copies as he could and maybe do a runner.
You didn't happen to see any other books in there while you were there, did you?
I mean, he had like books everywhere. That was like a lot, just way more than I had, like, time and patience to go through.
Well, there's possibly another book that's quite valuable. There were 2 books missing from the donation that was given to the college. One was the book that we're talking about at the moment, about the occult, and then there was also a very early original manuscript from Shakespeare that he might be trying to forge.
Report it to the police. See if they can search his house, find the books, and return them to the library. And then perhaps we can purchase one of the books from the library.
That does seem the best option, because if we were to go to the property now, you mentioned, Max, that the gentleman was dead?
Yeah, he looked like he was scared to death. He had like this, this, and I'm gonna try to recreate the facial expression of that dead person with my face. Like this look.
Is there an acting skill?
Oh, perfect.
I was just wondering if it'd be funny if there is one. I can't see him, but I'm sure there is one. But never mind.
If it falls under other skills, it would probably start with the 1.
I'm sorry, is this book here the copy of the book you were telling us about, or is this one the original?
This one here, I see, looks like a copy. Mr. Greaves, you mentioned there's 2 books missing from the library. Would the age of either of those match the age this is an imitation of?
I would think so. I'm not certain about the occult book, the Book of the Horn Man, but the Shakespeare folio would most likely be about right.
And the Shakespeare folio would be nearly priceless. The library will want to get their hands back on that.
I would be tempted to report the theft to the police, give the name of the gentleman who's believed to have stolen it, and the police can investigate it. They'll search the property, and if they find the books, they'll return to the library. Also, the body will be passed over to the morgue. Possibly someone I know might be ended up dealing with it, but I'm sure they'd find much more information about it than us. And if we were to go to the scene of, this person's death, it would look a bit suspicious for us to turn up there, so it'd be best to have the police investigate it, and we can use what information they get.
Keeper, would the King's College have reported the books as missing to the police at this point?
It doesn't seem like anyone else had yet noticed that there were books missing from the castle. Like, there's been no police reports, and there was no fuss about missing books. It was only by meticulously going through the massive amount of ledgers that you noticed that there's a discrepancy.
Right, then I'll report these as missing to the police tomorrow morning as part of my accounting check.
I mean, it will be important to trace them. I mean, one of these books could be potentially quite dangerous and the other quite valuable. And if it is, Keeper, would have any idea how valuable the Shakespeare one would be? Should just do a library use roll, or just...
You don't really know anything about it and you've not seen it, but from John's description of it, really rather valuable.
Yeah. So, but the Shakespeare one would be extremely valuable, and people would kill for money. So it's possible he's been killed, but scared to death. Keeper, the guy in Goatswood who we met, the old guy, he died from fright, didn't he?
Off Off the top of my head, I cannot recall. I would have to check my notes for that particular
I
session.
think he died from fright. There was no obvious. He died in his armchair. So,
Possibly, yes.
because there's a lot of weird creatures summoned up against us. Anyway, yes. I have seen someone who's been scared to death before. So, I don't believe it's all tied in with this, but it doesn't look as if we'll be able to get hold of those books unless we can trace who he was interested in selling them to. But when I met him, he did seem rather nervous and in a hurry to get the book.
Keeper, would I know what would happen if a person attempted to copy a genuinely occult book by hand?
Maybe a Cthulhu Mythos roll, please.
Wonderful. I don't nothing.
You don't know. Bad stuff.
Would I know?
Make me a Cthulhu Mythos roll, please.
Do I get advantage because of concerning the lore behind it?
No.
No. Okay. Oh, that's a fail.
You don't know.
Can I roll as well, just for fun, because everyone's rolling?
Yes, and you can have a bonus die on this.
Oh, okay. Success on the bonus.
I mean, you could think that perhaps,
To be
depending on
fair,
what they were copying, whether they did anything awful like reading stuff aloud whilst they were copying it, stuff might go
Yeah.
terribly wrong. But on the other hand,
well,
you
to be
are still alive and in one piece.
I have copied a number of Mythos books and had no problems at all. As long as I don't read out loud as I'm writing, it's fine. But, yes, I'm not going to mention anything about that.
I suppose if there are no better options, don't you all have presented here?
Yeah, it's probably time to call it an evening, really. It's probably getting on a bit late now, and we can't really do much about this until the morning.
So to clarify, nobody intends to go and investigate Leiter's house at all.
Well,
Not in
suspicious. It looks suspicious, the fact that some strange thug has kicked in the door.
You think when I report this to the police tomorrow, do you think they'd let us go with them to investigate and look for the particular items?
Actually, if you mention, I think, Inspector Thorne, it's possible. Well, actually, it's best we don't report the guy's death first, because then it'll imply we know.
Well, we can just say we know that he's known to have been the last person in possession or proximity to the books. We suspect greatly that he's taken them. Then, oh no, he's dead.
Yeah, it's best not to be fair to tie Inspector Thorne. He's a gentleman at the police who deals with strange cases. Usually what he tends to do is if it's something out of the ordinary, probably like this, he will direct it to the society to investigate. Simply, it means it avoids awkward questions and, more importantly, avoids them having to know the answers.
Make sure you bring your evidence of the missing information.
Right, will do.
Yeah, probably something for the morning. Just a nice, quiet, relaxing evening. Oh, that's a point. Mr. Johnson, remember, I think last time you were here you mentioned something about a panther.
Yeah.
You don't have to worry about that. That's been resolved now. There was really a panther.
All right.
It wasn't just a drink, there was a panther.
Where did it come from?
I believe it may have been someone's pet, something along those lines. I believe
see.
it trained to...
Give me a fast talk roll, please, Mortimer.
Fair enough.
I mean, he would probably have a bonus die because I would want to believe him.
I don't think it'll help a great deal. Oh, well.
Yeah, you can still believe him. You can still believe him. I mean, it's obviously a lie, but you can still believe him if you want to.
He doesn't believe it himself. All right.
I don't know where exactly it came from, but people do keep exotic pets. But
Yeah.
I don't believe it's going to be a problem anymore. But you definitely saw a panther, a real panther.
All right.
Been seen. Ignatius, I believe, had seen it shortly before. I don't think whether he saw it before you or after you. Because if you recall, when he left, he was reporting about a large black cat.
Oh, I don't know which.
Not sure if he left before you arrived about it, but I'm sure if you speak to him next time, he'll mention it. But as he left, he mentioned seeing a large black cat outside and thought we should know, and I believe that was the panther.
Okay, I see.
There shouldn't be any wandering around London. I believe it could have been an escaped pet or something, but who knows?
Okay. So, with everyone caught up more or less on what's going on with these books, you're all dispersing to get a good night's rest. Is that the plan? To follow up on this in the morning.
I'm definitely not going to go back there.
Okay. And so everyone returns. Yes. Sorry.
No, never mind.
Mortimer's just going to go home, see if he can work out any more of the knock. Depends how late it is, actually.
It's very late by now.
It's very late, yeah. He's not going to do any more reading. He's just going to call it a night.
Yeah, me too.
Okay, so everyone's calling it a night. Nobody wants to do any further investigation.
That's me.
Okay. The night passes by. Morning comes. What do people want to do the next day?
Well, I suppose I will go into my new job and say I'd been looking over the accounting, and I've come up with a couple of volumes missing.
Reporting this, I guess your superior, let's call him Harold Roach.
Okay.
He's head librarian. What was that? Accounting discrepancies? The student's
Yes.
not been returning stuff again.
No, this was the gentleman that I replaced.
Not
Perry.
losing books as well as everything else.
Oh, I mean, there were two volumes missing from the donation that came from Joshua Winter. They are apparently quite valuable.
Right. Well, I should have Leiter's address on file. See if he's got them hanging around anywhere. If he accidentally taken them home somehow.
It could have happened, you know.
Yeah.
Just failed to return them.
Yeah. Get them back off him. And if not, well, which ones were these? Were these from the Winters collection?
Yeah, these. One was the Shakespeare folio, and then the other was some book on the
folio.
Horned Man manuscript.
Yes, go to Leiter, see if he still has them. If he doesn't, ask where they are, if he knows where they are.
Okay.
Really.
Do we have his address on file?
Yes, here.
Okay.
We can look. We can get them back here if they really are missing. If they really do exist, it's not just, no one making up things. They seem an odd pair of books to make up if you were making up fictional books for the purposes of. I don't even know what you'd gain from that. Like, there's no money. It's not an insurance scam. No, it seems like. Right. I'll ask around any book dealers, see if knows anyone offering either of those books recently. You see what Leiter's got to say for himself, and look, if I can get this resolved without having to get the police involved, that would be excellent. Don't want to. It's never good as a library for people to get the impression that your books are being stolen or being appropriated. Like, it's not good for our reputation.
Oh no, it isn't.
And it's gonna make it makes donors a little like uncertain if they think we're just going to misplace their books. So if we can get these back on the download, that would be excellent.
All right, I'll go.
But if you don't have any luck with lighter, I suppose then we have to go to the police at that point. But see what you can do first.
All right, I will. And then after we have that conversation, I'll go to the location, but I'm not going to go in the house. I will simply notice that the door's been broken down by some enormously strong person.
Yeah, the
and
door's
shattered.
in full closed, but you can see that, yeah, the lock has been broken.
And and then after that, I will go to the police,
Okay,
just
so
in case there are
you are
people
going
looking.
To the police, yeah.
Yeah. And I went there first just in case.
Despite what your boss said, you're going to the police.
Well, I went to see if I could talk to
Okay.
him, and obviously he was not there.
Yes. Okay.
So
So you're
just in
going
case
straight
anyone
to-
was observing.
You're going straight to the police.
Yeah.
Okay, so you arrive at the nearby police station. And this is probably not sort of the main Scotland Yard offices, unless you want to go all the way over there. This would be the local police officers in Marylebone.
Okay. Right, is this where your friend is, or your contact, Mortimer? Do you know which constabulary he's in?
He would be based over at Scotland Yard at the
okay.
main. He's
Yeah, he would have
more
mentioned.
senior.
Okay, well, we'll since this is, as far as we know, a local matter, I'll just go to the one in Marylebone.
Morning, sir.
Oh, good morning. I'd like to report the theft of a couple of items from the library, from King's College Library, and in part of the circumstances, I was told to go to the person we suspected to simply ask for them back, but he doesn't appear to be there, and his house has been broken into. It looks like I didn't touch anything.
So the house was broken into and his books were stolen. Is that what you're saying?
Well, I'm saying that the house appears to be broken into, and I was not able to talk to him to see if he would give the books back.
So he's not at the house.
I have no idea. I mean, there was no answer, but I did not go in.
Right. And you know the house was broken into because...
The lock appeared broken when I approached it to knock on the door.
Alright, I'll send someone round to have a look at the broken door. As far as I can tell, that's and that's the crime we got here. Yeah, I'll add it to the rounds. Wait, can you have the address, please?
Certainly, and I give them the address and then my contact information at the library to get back in touch with us.
Alright, I'll have someone go check on that door at some point this morning.
All right, thank you very much.
What do your books look like?
They're very old.
Old books.
These are not modern printed books. These are more manuscripts and
Really old books.
very, very old books.
Alright, yeah, so I'll go check on the door and see if there's... Wait, so the books are yours, but it's his
They
house
belong-
that's been broken into.
These books belong to the King's College Library. They were part of a donation that seems to have gone missing in our accounting. They are no longer at the library. And we suspect the gentleman in question because he was let go rather suddenly. And he's not answered any...
Alright, I said I'll send someone round to take a look later this morning. Alright, thank you.
All right, thank you. And I will go back. And I don't want to make too much of a habit of using this new telephone thing. But, I'll let the people know at the society.
So you're
I'll go
ringing
back.
on the new-fangled telephone. Elsie, you hear the bell ring.
I'll pick up. Hello.
Hello again. This is John.
Hello, John. Mr. Greaves.
Yes.
Yes, this is Elsie Smith.
Good morning. I just wanted to let you know that I reported the missing books to the police.
Did they go right away?
They said they would put on the books for investigation today. They did not say they would do it immediately.
Oh, well, it's possible they might not go then. You know what? I will go to Scotland Yard and speak with someone there and see if they can press
Good.
to have it immediately.
Good idea. Good idea.
Thank you for letting us know.
Quite welcome. Talk to you later.
All right. Bye. And I
Bye.
hang up. And I am going to tell Miss Plum, we have to go to Scotland Yard.
Marvelous. I think that warrants the navy dress. I'll just go and change.
Quickly, please.
Yes, it won't take me long. So, as Elsie and Miss Plum are heading over to Scotland Yard, does anyone else have anything they want to do this morning relevant to the ongoing case?
I think Mortimer's probably just returned to his shop as normal, opening it up and starting it for a normal day, although there is some matter of an item he wants to dispose of, I believe he has in his possession. But other than
What
that,
is it and how would you like to dispose of it?
well, he'll open up the shop as normal so his assistant can start trading and all that. It's the matter of the human skin he has. His former his book binding he had. As you recall, his Culster Ghouls had originally been bound in human flesh. Well, he actually just stored it because he was wondering if he could use it to get some answers, so he just put it in a jar with formaldehyde or something to preserve it till he could get some answers. It's probably next to where the serpent person skin is kept, very likely. He's
The start of a growing skin collection.
nobody's been to that part of his house where the surgery is, so it's fine. He's got the jars of human skin and the serpent person skin next to each other, but yeah, he's probably just going to dispose of that. It's just the book binding that was in human flesh. He had hoped initially he'd come up with some answers, but it's been years. He's made no progress on that, so he's just going to burn it in a fire grate.
Okay.
It's quite flammable. It'll go straight up.
So, you're burning your human skin.
Yes.
Elsie's heading over to the police, and everyone else having a normal morning. No one up to anything unusual. So, yeah, Elsie, you arrive over at Scotland Yard. I don't think you have spoken to Inspector Thorne before, have you?
No.
No. So are you requesting to see him in particular?
Yes. Because Dr. Davenport mentioned him last night.
What's this? Good morning, young lady. What can I do to help you?
Good morning. My name is Elsie Smith. I am ward of Maddie Carter and an associate of Dr. Davenport.
An associate, is it? Right.
This is my
Chaperone.
Miss Plum. We
Morning,
are
Miss
here.
Plum.
We're here to assist in reporting a potential theft.
A potential theft. So
Yes.
nothing's been stolen?
We believe something has been stolen, and it's imperative that it be found quickly. We have an acquaintance at the King's College Library, Mr. John Greaves.
Yes.
He's been going through the accounting of a recent donation to the library, and he found that there were at least 2 volumes that are missing. One is a quite valuable original manuscript of Shakespeare's, and one is a questionable book.
Yeah.
And the gentleman...
Oh, yes, that's it then. 2 books have been stolen. I don't really see how this is a Scotland Yard matter. Has anyone been murdered?
I look at Miss Plum.
No, nobody has been murdered. I believe they are very valuable books.
Very valuable. And the gentleman who was last known to be checking on these was released from his duties at the library and has later come to Dr. Davenport's establishment attempting to sell them.
Alright, theft and book forgery. Yes, well, I think we've got... There's a fellow that deals with that sort of thing. We'll pass it on to him.
Will it be seen to within the hour?
Within the hour? No, miss, not within the hour. This is London. We've got, dead bodies being pulled from the Thames, murders,
Sir.
Women turning up dead all over the place. Book thefts are not our priority.
Inspector Thorne, the second book is thought to be of occult nature, and if you know who Maddie Carter was and what she did...
She dealt with looking for things of the occult nature. Right, you're her successor, right?
Yes.
There you go. See if you can find these books, right?
I would like to know for certain that they'll be seen to within the hour.
No, I've told you. Look, miss, you might think that this is... You can waltz in here and demand that we attend to your particular matter above everyone else's, but that's not how it works around here. We will handle the matters in the due course of time with the urgency appropriate to them. If this is indeed the kind of case that Miss Carter and her associates used to handle, we will contact the appropriate people and get them to take a look into it. Now, if you don't mind, I am a very busy man. I have plenty of other matters to attend to. Good day. He turns and leaves.
And I am going to be fuming when I leave and rumbling under my breath, even so that Miss Plum is kind of
horrible
put
man.
off by my language.
Elsa, no. A young lady does not use such words. A young lady does not know such words. Where on earth did you learn that from?
Never you mind, but this is not. This is not okay.
Well, I don't really understand all of this matter, but wouldn't one simply, pop around and have a look for the books?
Will you go with me?
Oh, yes, if you insist, yes.
Yes, we'll go there now.
Oh. Right. Good. Yes, we'll go look for some books. And you head over to Charles Later's house. Yeah, someone looks to have kicked the door in. I don't think there could be robbers inside or something.
Well, if there's robbers inside, then we need to have a police officer here. Do I see any police officers of any sort on the street?
Not on this street. If you looked around a few streets, you could probably find a bobby on patrol.
I will definitely do so.
Okay, so you're going to find a patrolling officer. Morning, miss.
Hello, we have reason to believe we've been sent on an errand for an acquaintance, and we have reason to believe that this house has been broken into. If you would...
I'll come take a look.
You don't want to be in danger.
Oh, no, wouldn't want Two respectable ladies like yourselves are going into a dangerous place. Let me handle this. Oh, yes, has been broken into. You wait here. I will go take a look. You hear the sound of rooting around, walking up the stairs. Oh, dear God!
Is everything all right? I take a step inside.
You best wait out there. You best stay there. I'm just going to fetch reinforcements. It appears there is a dead body in here.
Oh my!
You were wise to report this. I will fetch more people. He blows his whistle and goes running off to find more police officers. And soon a couple more from the Marylebone station turn up, and including, unbeknownst to you, the same man that John spoke to earlier. Grumbling. Bloody librarians. Right. Miss... Right, we'll take a statement of these ladies before they leave. What was your name again?
Miss Elsie Smith.
Elsie Smith. And the door was broken before you got here.
Yes.
And you've not been inside the house?
I took a step inside when the officer made a shout from upstairs.
Okay, and you don't know the man that lives here?
No, we don't know the man who lives here. I was sent here on behalf of an acquaintance to assist with retrieving.
Does this acquaintance have a name?
Yes. Mr. John Greaves. He's a friend that works at the library.
Yes,
told me about books.
Okay, thank you. You're free to go. You see, he takes a few steps away and forms a little huddle with a couple of police officers. They're talking in a low voice.
I don't leave.
If you make me listen, you can try and listen in if you want to. But,
oh, most definitely.
Yes. You can't really make out what they're saying. You only heard, the only phrase you get is mighty coincidental, don't you think? And then the other phrase you get is natural causes, surely? That's all you catch. There's a few more sort of nods and hums, and two of the officers head off. John, you're continuing your morning at work when two police officers turn up.
Oh, hopefully this is good news. Good morning.
Morning, sir. Can we have just a bit of a word with you, please?
Absolutely. Come into my office.
When was the last time you saw Charles Later?
I have never met the man. I took over for him here at the library. As part of the accounting of what the collection that was donated, I just noticed that the two volumes were missing, and they're not here at the library as part of that collection, which is why I went, after discussing the issue with my boss, went to the police.
Yeah, as per your report earlier, you went to his house and it'd been broken in, but you didn't go inside.
I did not go inside, no.
It would surprise you then to learn that Charles Later is dead.
It would be quite a surprise.
And you see, as he says that, he's watching you sort of intently.
Yeah. And I will effect genuine surprise.
Okay.
At least as much as I can.
I guess this is not really a roll for this, so I'm going to roll for them.
It's not a stealth roll to conceal.
Would be. Yeah, let's make it stealth roll.
Okay.
See if you can conceal the fact that. What? He's dead? This is the first I'm hearing of this. I was going to say this doesn't have major implications, but if you.
Right. I think it does now.
I see. First you've heard of this. Right. Mr. John
what?
Greaves?
Yes, sir.
Would you please come with us? We're going to have some further questions for you down at the station.
Yes, sir. Let me let my supervisor know I'm stepping out. And I do. And
And the policeman sort of trails behind you, and you see Harold Roger's face. What did I say?
so I'm sorry, Harry.
What?
Um,
I'll call the university's lawyer. I'll see what we can do. What?
apparently things have happened.
Right. No more questions now, please. And they take John Greaves down to the station for a few more questions. So Elsie, they've left one police officer there to sort of watch over the scene. How long are you lurking around for?
Maybe an hour. And then I'm going to go home and call up my lawyer. And Davenport.
Yes, does Davenport have a phone? I'd say for the sake of simplicity, yes.
Maybe, I don't know. Send a message to him.
Yes.
Have him by.
Yeah, what message are you sending to Davenport, and what message are you sending to, presumably your lawyer? The society does have a solicitor they keep on retainer who handles mostly, like,
he might know
monetary
other
matters.
solicitors that could assist, which is why I'm contacting him.
Yes. So yes, you call Mortimer. What are you saying?
The police has found Mr. Leiter dead, and I think they suspect Mr. Greaves.
I don't know why we could suspect that, but he should be okay as long as he's got a good lawyer. I mean, he hasn't gone into the property.
I don't know, but I think we should call. I've contacted Mr. Abernathy, our solicitor, and we'll speak with him and see if he has a lawyer that we or someone that we can speak with on behalf, so that we can have this properly represented.
That's a good idea. If it relates, do you know who was dealing with this case?
I know that I went. So Mr. Greaves spoke with the police of the area. He went to the small office there. They said they would do rounds at some time in the day. I took it upon myself to go down to Scotland Yard and speak with Inspector Thorne. And he threw me out of the office because this is just about books. And so I went there.
Strange one. Inspector Thorne doesn't seem to approve that much of women. I believe Miss Carter had issues with him as well.
That would make...
in particularly educated women.
He is infuriating.
Yes.
But aside from that, Miss Plum came with me. We went there. We saw the door was cracked open, and then we collected an officer off the street. They found the dead body, and lots of things happened.
Maybe for checking in on Mr. Greaves and to make sure he's okay. I'll pay a visit to his work and see if he's there, and take the matter from there.
Have you spoken with Mr. Johnson yet today?
Not today, no.
and I'm going to lower my voice, that he may have to come forward with his account of things that happened.
That he saw someone break in.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that wouldn't. Actually, if he was to report it, that he saw someone break in, that would clean. Well, obviously, it wouldn't be Mr. Greaves he saw break in. Yeah, actually, yeah, we may have to get in contact with him as well to have him make a statement about having witnessed the break-in. But I'm sure Mr. Greaves will be fine.
I hope so. I would hope that I haven't caused him any troubles.
Well, what I can do, I may send word to Mr. Johnson and head towards Mr. Greaves' work and see.
Very well. Thank you. I appreciate your help. And I hang up.
So yeah, you're sending word to Maximilian, and you're going to see. You're going to the library
to speak to Mr. Greaves' boss, or him if he's there. To be fair, I would have gone there expecting to find John Greaves.
Yeah. Meanwhile, D'Angelo, your morning has been blissfully peaceful. You've not heard anything from any of the others. Everything, as far as you are aware, is fine.
Of course, since we didn't really discuss what the rest of us were supposed to do, so after enjoying a very nice breakfast and reading the morning paper, I suppose, he would eventually make his way back to the Esoteric Society to see what happened.
Okay. So, yes, as you return to find Elsie and Miss Plum in a state of some, like, I'm not sure if distress is the right word, but certainly, alarm. James trips you in with a shrug of, I don't really know what's going on. They're looking for lawyers.
I do not mean to impose, but has something occurred?
James would be aware if he wants to discuss it.
Dead bodies, lawyers. Do you want a cup of tea?
Yes, please. I do not believe you all will be able to find any solutions if you are panicked, so might I suggest taking a calming breath? Right. Now we'll start at the beginning.
This morning, we received a call from Mr. Greaves stating he spoke with the police and that the police would see to it at some point in the day, not necessarily right away. And I said I would go to Scotland Yard. So I went to Scotland Yard, argued with Inspector Thorne. He, essentially kicked me out of his office. And so I decided, and I brought Miss Plum along. We went to Mr. Leiter's home. While the door was cracked open, we fetched a Bobby off the street, had him go inside and look. He screamed. There was a dead body. He went to go find more police. More police came, and they did a quick search of the building, and then there was a conversation. I heard something about natural causes, and they asked me why I was there, and I said I was here to collect some books for Mr. Greaves, and then some of the police left, and we stayed around for about an hour or so longer, but nothing was happening. So we came here to find. We contacted Dr. Davenport, and he's going to go check on Mr. Greaves and then speak with Mr. Johnson. And I've contacted Mr. Abernathy to see if he knows of a lawyer that could assist with getting all of this straightened out.
I'm a bit confused on why exactly you would need a lawyer.
I think that they might think that John did it.
But if they believe that, then I feel finding a lawyer so quickly would only further implicate Mr. Greaves.
It's better to have one than not.
So, as this is going on at society, Mortimer, what message were you sending to Max? How is it just a brief message? What are you saying to him?
It's a brief message, just saying that it may become necessary for you to let the police know about what you saw. As I believe they suspect John. That'll be pretty much, without saying what, that'll be enough information, I feel, for him to know.
All right.
It'll be, as I said, just a brief message whilst he's going to head towards Mr. John Greaves' place of work whilst this is going on.
So it's how late is it right now?
This is the morning.
This is still morning.
Yes.
It's like early. All right, I'm gonna move up to a police station, and I'm going to try to find an officer.
You can find one, yes.
And I have to admit something.
Oh, you want to confess a crime? Yes.
Not really a crime. I mean, maybe like
If you're not here to confess a crime, then I would suggest not wondering anything. I'm here to admit something.
I mean, I yesterday evening I was a little, tipsy, and I saw this guy coming out of a building. All sneaky and stealthy and trying to not be seen. And I was curious. So I, instead of following the guy down, I was looking inside, and I saw a dead body in there. So I kind of ran away. But I think there's somebody needs to go and check that and find that. I know I should have come forward like immediately, but I shouldn't have been in there either. And yeah, that's why I'm here now.
Give me a fast talk roll, please. It's the truth, but you're still. Well,
I'm omitting and I'm being very generous with it. I'm giving you the 10 points. That's fine.
Okay.
This was yesterday evening, like about, and I'm giving time and like place and like address.
And this man you saw, can you give me a description of the man you saw breaking into the house? Do you know his name? Do you know we can find him to corroborate your story?
The man that I saw coming out of the house?
Yes.
I didn't get his name. He looked, and I'm gonna give like a rough. I'm gonna keep the like body form of the guy correct, but I'm not gonna give like a perfect description that I would have, because I would have been way closer to actually have that. So I'm basically staying with stuff that I can have seen from like further away.
Okay.
Like so like rough stature, like dark clothing, and I'm like about that high, about 80 kilos, maybe, whatever that is in stones. I don't know.
Question. How tall is John Greaves? Is he an average height of man, a tall man, or a short man?
He is. Well, let me look at my character sheet.
Oh
He
boy.
is 5'10" and medium build.
Okay, so not matching the description of the man that Maximilian saw. So, meanwhile, over at Marylebone, John is sat around in an office. You can hear the bustle of the police station around you. You've probably been there for a few hours by the time someone comes to talk to you properly. Morning.
Morning.
My name's Sergeant Watts. I think we spoke earlier this morning when you came
Yes, indeed. I
to
remember
tell
you.
me about a broken door
I did. Yes.
and some missing
And-
books.
Yes.
And then coincidentally later in the day, we find a dead body in that house,
I have no idea how that happened.
which you claim not to have seen before.
I have not seen that.
Hmm.
I have not met him, had not met him, and nor had I seen his body.
Now, here's the thing. I've been doing this job for a fair few years. I know that you're lying to me. You're hiding something. Unfortunately,
I am.
we've had the report back from the doctor we sent over to take a look. And it does appear that our bookish friend up there died of natural causes. It seems he had a sudden heart failure. And there seems to be no sign of foul play. Therefore, I am forced to release you. However,
There has to be a however.
no funny business. I don't want to see you around any more broken doors or
I'm a
dead
librarian.
bodies.
What kind of funny business could I get into?
I don't know. There's something going on here. I don't know what it is. And I can't prove anything, but there's something going on here. I know it, and I know you're up to something.
Well, I will admit my surprise when I was talking to the police earlier, because my boss had told me not to take it to the police.
Wait, your boss told us not to take this to the police.
Yes.
Interesting. And this boss of yours, what would his name be again?
Harry? And I forgot his last name.
Roach.
Sorry.
Harold Roach.
Harry Roach.
Right, and he specifically said don't take this to the police.
Well, he wanted to keep it a private matter so that the library is not brought into the public as having lost donations.
Right, well. Interesting. Thank you. I'll have a few follow-up questions on it. As I said, for the time being, you are free to go.
Right. Well, you know where to find me.
Well, yes, you've got your address, your work address. Any other addresses that you're known to frequent?
Those are
Should
the
you not
only
be
two.
at those two?
Those are the only two I'm frequent.
Very
Just
boring
recently here
life?
from. Yes,
Yes,
I'm a
recent-
librarian, as previously mentioned.
All right, sir. Off you go.
Thank you very much. And I'll make my way out.
All right. Where are you heading?
I'll go back to the library.
Okay.
It's reasonably early in the day still, or is it late?
By now it's getting up to lunchtime.
Oh, then I'll go back to the library.
Right, and you head to the library. I think this is Mortimer would probably get there before you. Mortimer, you arrive at the library to find a bunch of librarians in a huddled discussion. Oh, first one gets fired. That one's been arrested for murder. Why did we not keep this position filled? I don't think he's been arrested yet. I don't know. What do they think? Do they think he off-lighter to get the... No, I don't know.
Good morning.
Morning?
I was just hoping to see a friend of mine who works here, I believe, Mr. John Greaves.
Oh, he's not here right now.
Do you know where I might find him? I would have thought he would have been working at this time of day.
He has been unfortunately detained on other business.
By detained, you mean the police?
He is busy with other matters.
Would you allow me a psychology roll?
I mean, you know that he's lying.
Yeah.
He's lying.
I'll not bother rolling, I know.
Yeah.
I would know, because my character knows London quite well. Well, thank you for your time. Well, if he turns up, could you please ask him to send word to me? I'm Dr. Mortimer Davenport.
Yeah.
Just a friend of his. Okay, well, thank you for your time, and I'll start wandering towards the nearest police station.
And as you start wandering towards the nearest police station, who should you see coming the other direction up the road? But John Greaves.
Oh, you managed to escape then?
Escaped? No, I was allowed out, released on my own recognizance.
Good behavior. I understand.
I'm not under suspicion. Well, I'm under suspicion, but I'm not under arrest.
Yes, I think we're all under suspicion for something. But what happened? Why did they arrest you?
Well, they were suspicious about my story, about seeing the locked door and not going in, and then someone else went into the premises earlier and called the police, and they found a dead body. Do I know that it was Elsie that reported it to the police?
No, not at this point.
Okay, all right. So yeah, someone called the police, and they came in and saw the dead body, and then obviously they came straight round to the library and collected me for further questioning.
Sometimes it's best not to involve the police, I found. Unfortunately, I've usually found out after I've involved the police.
As I have in this case too.
But, yeah, your friends at the library are under the impression you've been arrested.
I should probably go straighten that out.
I've heard something they were saying they thought you had murdered your predecessor for the role.
Well, he wasn't dead before he left, so I mean, he'd been fired prior to his demise.
But I'll head back to the society and let them know if you wish to get in touch. You know where you can get hold of me, either at the society or my shop.
I think I'll go straighten things out. Get them.
To see you've escaped, anyhow.
Right. Good to see you.
Okay, John goes back to the library. Mortimer goes to join D'Angelo and Elsie at the society, and Max, we last saw you leaving the police station. Where is your next point of call?
Yeah, probably go back to the society and try to find out more about what the hell happened.
Alright. So yeah, as the four of you are back at the society, you're able to catch each other up and fill in the gaps of that morning's events. Of the various visits to various police stations. And
I didn't actually need to involve myself in this. Oh well.
but it seems that no murder has in fact been committed, from what policeman said to John, that Charles Later's death was natural causes. As far as the police are concerned.
Perhaps we should consider being more truthful in the future.
Sometimes that works. Well, perhaps next time, or we'll just see what happens. But we still got no further in working out what's happened to this book.
We should still have a lawyer on retainer.
A good idea.
That's what we need.
But yeah. So, as Mortimer said, you are still no closer to knowing why you have a blank. Well, you know why you have a blank book, but what happened to the original? You don't know yet. And that, I believe, will have to be a question for next week. As following that series of misunderstandings, I think this is a good place to leave things off for today.